Hi everyone, Aidan here, the trailer. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Kuat NV 2.0 platform style bike rack and seeing how it fits on the back of our 2021 Jeep Wrangler. Now one thing I want to point out right out of the gate is that we are using this with a hitch extender. The bike rack just wasn't working without the hitch extender. So what that is, it's just an extra piece that attaches in your hitch and extends it further from the vehicle. You can see it right down there. We're using the etrailer one right now, and we're using about an 8-inch extension. Now with that in mind, you do want to keep in mind that it does reduce the overall tongue weight of your hitch by 50%. So if your hitch is rated for 350 pounds of tongue weight, it's going to cut that in half. But the bike rack does retain its original weight capacity. Just make sure you're not overloading the hitch because that is your new lowest rated component most likely. Aside from all that though, the NV is going to be a really solid bike rack, and I think it's definitely worth it to be used with the hitch extender because it works with a wide range of bikes. It works with carbon frame and alternative frame because it holds the bike by the tire. It has a 60-pound weight capacity per bike, so it can handle some e-bikes too. And it's just going to be a really smooth operating bike rack. You've got color options for gray and black, so you can kind of customize it to fit your Jeep if you want to. We've got the gray one on display here today. And it's just going to be a very functional rack. It does have the ability to tilt away with the bikes loaded. There's a pedal towards the front tray right up here that I can pull to release. And that will allow us to partially open the back of our Jeep. Not enough because, unfortunately, that spare tire will make contact, but it's certainly enough to reach in here and grab your helmet, maybe a change of shoes or some snacks for before or after your ride. So it is workable. If you want something that can give you full access, Kuat does make a swing away arm, which will actually pivot the entire rack out of the way. That's really popular with a lot of Jeep and truck owners, and it works really well. So that might be a more expensive solution, but it's certainly going to be a nicer solution to retaining that function of your Jeep all the time. With that in mind though, we can get the bike unloaded. To start, we'll take the back wheel strap off by pressing this gray button, pulling the ratcheting strap out. And I do want to point out while we're back here that there is an integrated cable lock at the back of the tray. It's pretty short, but it's certainly long enough to wrap through the frame of your bike and back to add for some extra security. The front wheel hook, press this button, push up and out, and then we're fully open to just lift our bike up and away. And I'll just set this off to the side. I really like the open design of it because it makes loading and unloading very straightforward. And when we're done, we can just fold everything back up in this nice, clean storage position. The back wheel strap here does slide back and forth along the whole half of the tray to accommodate for different wheelbases. And in this state, we can get some measurements, starting off with our ground clearance. Now at the back end, the lowest point to the ground is going to be 23.5 inches, and that's actually pretty solid. There's a good rise in the shank here, so I don't think you have to worry about bottoming out on any steep driveways or hills, even with it extended back a bit further. And then in this extended position, from the furthest out point on our spare tire to the end of the rack, it's going to be 35.5 inches. So that does add a fair bit of length, a little bit extra because we have that extension in place, but that extension is necessary to actually fold the rack upright. If we didn't have that extender in place, we wouldn't be able to do this at all. So this does help for driving around when bikes are unloaded, if we want to leave it in the hitch between rides and just keep it ready to go. In this state, it only sticks out 18 inches, which honestly isn't bad. There are a lot of racks that are going to be about that measurement anyway without an extender. So I'd say this is a pretty good place to be. Makes it easier to drive around and park it and maybe even pull it in your garage since the Wrangler is a bit shorter. In this state though, it is going to block your backup camera pretty much completely because it's lined up with the main base of the bike rack here. Our license plate does remain pretty visible and our taillights are unobstructed. All of that might change whenever we have bikes loaded up. It just depends on the types of bikes you have loaded, so keep that in mind. At the bottom, we do have an anti-rattle knob that's completely tool-free and tightens this up in the hitch, or in our case, the hitch extender. So I would recommend maybe picking up a second anti-rattle device for the hitch extender you choose, just because although the bike rack is solid in the extender isn't solid in the hitch, so there is some shake and play from that. But the anti-rattle knob works great for that side of it. And at the point where it attaches, there is going to be a locking hitch pin. That lock is key-like to the cable locks up top, so it's a one-key system, and you don't have to worry about forgetting that and mixing up your keys. And up top, the one last thing that the NV has that sets it apart is the bike repair stand. Just flip that lever out front to open it up, drop your bike in, you can close it up, and do some last-minute maintenance or repairs at the trail or the park. So if you do have something happen to maybe your chain or the tire, you can do some last-minute repairs and not have to flip your bike upside down on the ground. Just makes it a little bit easier to bring it up to you where you're at, and is one of the things that sets this rack apart. If you don't have any need for the bike repair stand or don't care, you can get the NV base. It's going to be pretty much the exact same thing you see here, just without that repair stand. It's one I always recommend for people if they like this style but they don't need the extra feature. Otherwise, that's going to do it for our look at the Kuat NV 2.0 on our 2021 Jeep Wrangler. Thanks for watching.
We're going to take it out here on the test course. First thing we're going to do is hit the bumps. We're just going to see what it's like if we did hit some speed bumps. I'm watching the bike, watching how it holds on the tires. It looks like it moves just a little bit, not too much. This is mostly standard with other bike racks, so nothing to worry about. The bike doesn't look like it's going anywhere. Now we're going to go a little bit faster in the parking lot. I'm going to take some aggressive turns and see how it handles there. Looks like it's fine. I see a little movement again, but again, the bike's not going anywhere, so I don't have to worry about it.